Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Marmaloo. I'm going to be making this video to talk about the changes made from Season 2 to Season 3 of RGL, and to at least tell everybody that I'm going to try and make at least 2 videos weekly, and I'm going to try and cast matches, whether it's on my channel or RGL. I'm going to try and at least watch them, maybe watch some demos of odds or whatever on stream, but that's besides the point of this video. So, right now this season's starting this next week, which would be the 24th or something around there. But so these times are off because they had a 1-week extension of registration. So main things that matter to me, at least for this season, not league updates, not newbie mixed team drive, the map pools. So one thing that people have not been too happy about is they have actually removed Granary and replaced it with Villa, and then added Bagel for only invite. So it's sad to see Granary go, but I definitely like to see more Koth maps, because I think the ultimatum was no Koth maps or more Koth maps, because just having one map for one game mode is kind of dumb, especially with the pick ban where you can just remove it if you're not good at Koth. So it's great to see that. And after not really playing the new maps that much, I've heard mixed reviews about Clear Cut. Well, still not the best reviews about Clear Cut, but mixed reviews about Villa, about Bagel. And they look interesting. Villa looks different than most other maps, kind of. It's at least the mid's a bit more compressed, it feels, and there's more different things of height, different levels. But yeah, it's going to allow a less janky ban system, especially with the odd number of maps, where I think both teams should probably get 3 bans. So last season it was the last round, the higher seeded team gets 2 bans and the lower one gets none at the end. So hopefully it's a bit more even there. So next thing is Whitelist unbans. Is the things that got unbanned is the Detonator, the Gas Passer, and Solemn Vow, along with the Scorch Shot. So the main, or one of the things that is important about this is Detonator, Scorch Shot are banned, which are definitely the best pyro secondaries. I think the Scorch Shot's better than the Detonator because it's better for chip shot, knowing damage. It has knockback on hit. It spawns another flare when you hit it, and it still has splash damage. So it's overall probably the best. Detonator, debatable, but I think Scorch Shot is definitely better. Gas Passer is really, really bad. You don't spawn with it. It takes a long time to generate over time. When you throw it, all it does is whoever it hits, if you hit them with any damage, they light on fire. At least that's what I think. I'll probably look it up later if I'm wrong. I'm wrong, but no one's going to use this weapon anyways, because you have a poke damage like the Scorch Shot, which makes pyro somewhat viable. Maybe on like Viaduct you could run it, where you're just standing in the back ready to reflect bombs and just light people on fire. Because if you light the men on fire, that's really annoying. But the main change that is important is the Solemn Vow has been unbanned. It's had a lot of controversy later on, or about 2 seasons ago when it was initially thought of getting unbanned, when they made the change where you can see Uber's health. So what the Solemn Vow does is, without even having it pulled out, if you look at anybody on the other team, you get to see their health. If you look at the medic, you get to see their Uber charge. So what I think this will end up doing is, if every medic turns to it, which they probably will, it takes a little bit of skill away, I guess, with not having to count Ubers as much in certain situations. You're still going to have to know, because you're not going to have a direct line of sight with the other med all the time. But it's going to also take away that clutch factor, the hype of don't let the med get the saw, and if you get the saw, buys 8 seconds on last, or the slight Uber ad you get from somebody trying to kill your med, but hits a saw. So yeah. So what I think what's going to happen is dry pushes are going to happen more often, where the attacking med is just going to try and see the other one and see if they have any ad, any disad. Depending on that, they keep going, they leave, they take a aggro Uber in, and vice versa. If you're trying to do a bluff dry push, if the med can see your meds, the defending med can see the dry pushing team's meds Uber, and they're like, oh, they don't have ad, they're bluffing, they've been building. You can just take that fight. If you have ad, Uber into them. If you don't, back up. So I think it's going to be not quite a direct upgrade. There's still situations where you'd want the Uber saw with Like I said, clutch situations, you're on your last. Maybe you switch off, but doubt that's going to happen. So next thing is how they changed the point system. This is the main change that everybody was upset about last season, with the point system contributing to why High Five Demo missed playoffs and Ford made it. It is now no longer the primary way of seeding. It has moved to win-loss being the primary, followed with rounds divided by total rounds played. And finally, if those are all tied, then you go to head-to-head and strength of schedule, which pretty sure is for lower divisions, because invite, strength schedule, every schedule is the same. You play every team twice, besides yourself, obviously. So maybe that, it shouldn't have any effect, but, maybe. So the plus to the point system, in my opinion, is that every match had some effect on the playoff race, especially, which was really shown well by last season. So High Five Demo were in a situation they were just barely above Ford and around the same level with RGL. So High Five Demo actually threw a game versus Froyo. They won. They went 5-4 against two lower invite teams in 2 matches, which, don't know how it worked, is you get 2 points from a 5-4 win and the other team gets 1, so that really doesn't help. And I think the point system actually made every match a little bit more interesting, and you can't really throw, and it makes teams have more incentive to try every match and not play it close, not chill out, and it makes a lot of the matches a lot more interesting. With a low invite team playing a team like Ford or like a playoff team, you don't have much incentive to really try your hardest, because most likely you're gonna lose. You have a chance to win, but if it starts going bad, you're probably going to let it keep going bad if you're not trying that hard. So last season, a prime example was, I guess you'd call it a garbage match, because it was very extremely unlikely Ford was going to lose to this low invite team, but I forget who was streaming it, but someone was, and there was like 100 viewers watching this random match later in the season. And everyone was so hyped when they were about to win a round. They're building it up, getting close, getting other teams last. And they finally won the round. And that could have had a giant effect on how playoffs worked, because that could have been the small thing that stopped Ford from making playoffs, which High Five Demo, all they had to do to make playoffs was win 1 or 2 rounds against RGL, and they got absolutely blown out, which probably is an outlier. And also, they didn't scrim. So they definitely would have made playoffs if they scrimmed at all. At least that last week, I think. But, it's on them. They missed playoffs, but that will be no longer. The playoff race, the problem with how this works is most of the time, playoffs is determined 1 or 2 weeks ahead of when the season actually ends, with how schedules sometimes work, where you play the harder teams first, and like the last ones are either walk in the parks or it's against Froyo in a set or something. So you're not expected to win. It'd be nice too. You're probably not going to, so it won't have much effect. And yeah, that's about it. Right there, if you didn't see it. And the plugins, I think they fixed like bugs, like sticky dat, ramp bug. The controversial ones they didn't add was medic speed being reverted, so you run at normal speed regardless of who you're healing. And with gunboats not doing less damage if you hit someone in your face. So that's it. And I'm going to be looking to cast more this next season, and I'm hyped for it. Mal's back, the people's champs, and that's it. So I'm going to try and make another video in a couple of days about the preseason power rankings, when hopefully the teams get finalized and we know who's on who and what teams actually are happening. So yeah, that's it. I'll see ya in a couple of days.